Hi and welcome to the Malat cookery channel. So today I'm going to show you how to cook perfect rice every single time. So I've been asked by a few people to do a basic video just on cooking rice. It is really easy to do, you just need to follow some basic principles. So when we're looking at cooking the perfect rice, the first thing we really need to discuss is portion size. That's one of the things that people really struggle with, not just with rice but with pasta as well. What is the portion size we need for the average adult? So I use a measure of 80 grams of dried uncooked rice per adult. Not everybody has scales in their kitchen, so if we change that to a volume measurement, because everybody should really have something like a measuring jug, 80 grams of uncooked dry rice equates to very roughly 100 millilitres in volume, which is what we've got here. So just pour the rice into the measuring jug until it reaches the 100 millilitre line, and obviously make sure that the rice is nice and flat so you get an accurate measure. If you're in the US, 80 grams equates to about 2.8 ounces. In a volume measurement, that's about 1/3 of a cup of dried uncooked rice per person, or 3.5 fluid ounces. Okay, but we're in the UK, so I'm going to be dealing with millilitres. So 100 millilitres per adult of uncooked dried rice is a really good portion size for a main meal. So once we've got our rice measurement, the next thing is how much water do we need? Well, that's really easy. It's just double the amount of rice. So we've got 100 millilitres in volume of dried uncooked rice here. We basically just double that. So we'll need 200 millilitres of water in order to cook this rice in. Right, so first thing we need to do with the rice before we cook it is just to rinse the rice under cold running water, just to make sure we get rid of as much of the residual starch on the outside of the rice as possible. If we don't do this and just place the rice straight into the pan and cook it, that starch will bind the rice together and you'll just end up with a big clump. So this is a really important step. So about 20 seconds, 20-30 seconds, just under cold running water. Just going to move the rice around the sieve just to make sure I get rid of as much of that starch as possible. Okay, so I've got our washed rice in a small saucepan. Make sure the saucepan that you choose has a tight fitting lid. I've placed in 200 millilitres of cold water. I'm just going to add a little bit of salt. Place the lid on the pan. I've also stirred the rice as well, just to make sure that it's not stuck together. Place the lid on. We just want to bring this up to a gentle simmer, and then I'll show you the next step. Okay, so we've brought the water up to the boil to a gentle simmer. Now I'm going to be using a timer, and we're going to be cooking the rice now for 10 minutes on the lowest heat possible. So this is just going to be a really gentle simmer. Do not take the lid off the pan. The lid doesn't come off the pan now until we're ready to serve the rice. Okay, so our 10 minutes are up. Next thing we need to do is just turn the heat off completely. You'll notice all of the large bubbles have disappeared. That's a good indication that 99% of the water has been taken up by the rice. What we need to do now is, with the heat off, leave the pan with the lid on, don't take the lid off, and because this is long grain rice, we're going to steam the rice now in the pan for 5 minutes. If it's something like basmati rice, this is where the only difference is. Something as delicate as basmati rice, you would let it steam for 2 minutes. So for basmati rice, the total cooking time is 12 minutes. For something like standard long grain rice, it's 15 minutes. So after 5 minutes, this rice is now going to be ready to serve. So at the end of that steaming process, this is what we get: perfectly cooked long grain rice that separates, no lumps whatsoever. So there you go, the perfect rice every single time. As I said in the video, just some basic principles to follow. If you follow those principles, you will definitely get it right. Please subscribe to the channel, and as usual, if you enjoyed this particular video, hit the like button. Thank you very much for watching.